Assassin's Creed Shadows is far from perfect, but in a few key areas, it absolutely delivered. Sure, there's flaws, and we'll tackle those in another video. Link is in the description when it's out. But today, let's focus on what Shadows actually got right. Appropriately at the beginning of this video, let's discuss the opening for this game. It was, by all accounts, one of the best openings in the entire series. I loved it. About 5 hours in, I was completely in love with this game. Everything was hitting just right. The opening is very cutscene heavy, but for me, a big story guy, I appreciated the dedication to giving these moments the attention they deserve, with beautiful pre-rendered cutscenes. Naoe was shaping up to be a great character. It's only once you unlock Yasuke that the real problems with the story start to rear their ugly head. And not because Yasuke is a bad character, but because the mission structure and storytelling falls off a cliff after Act 1. But before that, everything hits hard. It's emotional, and I was fully engrossed in the outcome of events. I wanted to know more about this world, its characters, and where our place within it was. This is when there's still mystery and interesting things happening. I don't really want to spoil anything, so I can't go into too much detail, but there are deep characters introduced early that really make me think about things. I had to question my character's motives and my own. That's what a good AC story does. It had everything: mystery, intrigue, big cinematic moments, huge boss fights, and strong character moments, which makes me even sadder to know that it didn't quite stick the landing. Stealth is another huge success for Ubisoft. Well, when playing as Naoe anyway. Yasuke is just too clunky for my liking. I want to be a quick, smooth criminal, taking out targets quickly and quietly, and sometimes with style. Naoe does this. She is fast and agile and has a variety of fun moves and tools at her disposal. I just found it to be a lot of fun, especially on the harder difficulties where you must really work to stay hidden. The new shadow system where the player can manipulate light and shadows to create hiding spots and sneak around undetected is honestly amazing. I loved it. I was a huge fan of Splinter Cell back in the day, and this gave me a similar feeling of being able to sneak right up to enemies in the pitch black and maneuvering my way around stacks of guards. Stealth in Shadows is just fun. You feel like a badass because of Naoe's slick moves, and she can deal with a lot of different situations to come out on top. The additions of the enemy types doing different things in Stealth is great too. I like how the samurai won't stand around in the smoke bombs just getting assassinated. It means every scenario is different. There are enemies who you can't assassinate from the front as well. It all adds dynamics and switches up the stealth just enough to make it feel new and rewarding. I prefer the old one-shot system from older games, but if they're going to tie RPG progression to assassination damage, then Shadows has the best system yet, where you deal a certain amount of chunks when you assassinate, meaning you can scout an area and know exactly who you can kill from a distance, without having to run into assassination range to see how much damage you will do, like in the previous AC RPGs. There's also gear perks that can increase stealth damage of assassinations or kunai. Some only work at night, or only for air assassinations. It's an interesting system. I personally loved the stealth in this game. Anytime I actually feel like an assassin stalking through the shadows, taking out entire castles unseen, I know that they got something right. Gear is pretty decent in this game. I like the way a lot of Naoe's outfits looked. Yasuke's were okay, but I only found one outfit that I truly loved. Whereas with Naoe, I had about 3 hours switching between and occasionally switched it up completely. So looks wise, they're great overall, and the fabric simulation is actually really impressive in this game. It looks almost real a lot of the time. When it comes to gear stats and perks, this is less impressive, but it's still better than the likes of Odyssey. Big numbers and stats are never really something I want in my Assassin's Creed games. It's just something I've never cared for. Perks are pretty cool though. They change your playstyle and can be utilized in a variety of ways to create different builds. Some of them are so powerful that they completely change the way you play combat or stealth. For instance, there's one that allows Yasuke to block unblockable attacks, and it's kinda broken, but it completely changes the way you approach combat. You can then partner it with other perks that do things when you block. It's interesting. A quick shout out to my patron Alex Applegate supporting me over on Patreon. You're a huge help to me in my prolonged trial and error as a content creator, so thank you as always. And if anyone else would like to join my Patreon, head to the link in the description. Thanks. The world of Shadows, without a doubt, is absolutely gorgeous. Vast landscapes stretch beneath towering mountain peaks, carved by rivers and streams, dotted with trees and blanketed in leaves and blossoms. Not to mention the imposing castles and forts that litter the lands. I loved every moment just being in this world because of this. No matter how bad I thought other things were, I still loved being in this game. I have never opened a photo mode so many times in my life. It's not something I'm normally interested in, but I just wanted to capture the wonder I was experiencing. Whether I was on top of a snow-capped mountain or cruising along a winding road, I just felt like I was in a movie. The leaves, the blossoms, or snow would blow across my path, and I was just completely immersed within the world. Until I spoke to someone and their face moved like an alien, but that's for another video. I actually enjoyed the world design of the mountains and the world as a whole. I see a lot of criticism for the mountains ruining the open world aspect of this game, as people can't just go where they want. But in my opinion, having paths to follow felt 100 times more immersive. But I do understand why some people want to be able to go anywhere at any time. But I think the payoff of having realistically big, beautiful mountains is a net positive for me. They are formidable obstacles that enclose this world and really make it feel real. Most mountains in games feel like small hills. They look and feel like it too. But Shadow's mountains are perfect. Yasuke's story is the better of the two in my opinion. I like the flashbacks and all the story that we got in the beginning of Act 2. It filled in the blanks while leaving some mysteries open. The ending to his story was actually pretty decent. However, it was rushed and came all too late in the game in my opinion. But I did want to point out that as a character, I found him intriguing. I wanted to learn all about his past, present, and future. I felt connected to him in a way that I didn't with Nawe. Nawe's story has a very strong start, as I said, but it trails off into nothingness and has a very unsatisfying ending. So I just wanted to quickly point out that there were some very interesting parts of Yasuke's story that I really enjoyed. Combat is so much better than the last 4 games in the series. It feels weighty and can be challenging at times. It has more options than previous combat systems. Yasuke is completely overpowered in easy mode in combat, while Nawe feels like a real challenge when faced with more than about 2 enemies, but both have tools to deal with most situations. I like the blocking and dodging gameplay, which makes combat a bit more complicated than the previous system. It can, however, be a bit button mashy at times, but if you're playing optimally, that shouldn't be the case most of the time. I like the challenge that the different enemies presented, where you had to really approach them in different ways, with different moves or weapons. It's still not amazing by any means, but it is a huge improvement on the previous 4 games from the series, and I guess we should celebrate that. Let's put it this way, I didn't feel like restarting a mission every time I got spotted just to avoid the combat system like I did with some of the previous titles. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, and also if you're new here, please subscribe, that would really help the channel out. What do you think Shadows got right? And don't forget to check out my other video about what I thought it got wrong, if that's out when you watch this. Thanks for watching, Sticks out.